Hello everyone and welcome to another random bits and pieces segment from my brain, and today, sit a while for we are playing some more Franchise Hockey Manager 6 as part of the Ottawa Senators. Alright, so October came and went away pretty fast. We are atop the Eastern Conference standings, a couple points ahead of the Pittsburgh Penguins. We are doing pretty good. We did lose a couple games, but, you know, we're probably not going to win them all ever. So as usual, you know, scoured the trading block. There's really nothing there unless I'm willing to overpay for a guy like Michael Anzus that's starting to get old, and I have David Legwan that's younger and probably about, you know, gonna give me about the same. So it's not really necessary, so I didn't see anything there that grabbed my attention. I rarely do. It's not that I don't want to make trades, it's just that what's available out there is just not all that interesting. So we are about to hit November here with so that it looks like a weird schedule. Now, of course, that was the schedule in real life. I don't exactly remember it per se, even though it was just only quote-unquote 9 years ago. So we're gonna start with a game on the road in Boston, then we're gonna go back home for 3 games, and then we're gonna play at least 6 games on the road, including our annual Western Canadian trip there. So we'll see what happens with all of that, but that sure is a long road trip. Usually when I have one of those, I tend to lose a few games, so we'll see if that happens again. But anyway, so we are about to play Boston here to start the month. Boston is 4-6, not doing all too cool. They are 10th in the East right now. We have not played them so far, so let's take a look here and see if maybe they are finally playing Ryan Miller. Oh, Ryan Miller is starting to decline in ability here. He lost to Alpha Star. Alright, so Craig Rivet is hurt. He's not going to be playing. He just played his 1000th game not too long ago, too. Alright, so Ryan Miller. Looks like they finally decided to use him as a starter. He played in all 10 games of his team so far. Alright, so in net it's Metter and Nabokov, with Metter finally being the starter. His stats weren't all that great. And then Bodnarchuk, John Michael Lyles, Kostov, Segelet, Hamilton, Andre Benoit on D. That D is a little thin. Chris Neal, Milan Lucic, Steve... Oh god, that left side is big and scary. Chris Neal, Milan Lucic, Steve Ott, Nate Thompson, Tukonen, Murray O'Reilly, Krejci, Peter Regan, Bailey, Zubros, Kessel, Marsha, and Nieminen up front. So Phil Kessel, the best player. Brad Marsha is a 2-star player right now. He's 23. He was a little bit of a late bloomer. Well, Marsha played in the NHL, but he was kind of a third liner for a few years until he started to explode offensively. So, alright, let's play the Bruins here. We should be able to beat them. Their team is not that great. They do have a few interesting players, of course. Alright, so we are going with Antti Niemi in net. Looks like we are going to continue to ride Niemi. Ryan Miller is in net for Boston, so the former Sens facing us. And we lost 4-3 in overtime. Oh boy, not a good start. Alright, so we outshot Boston 43-25. Josh Bailey was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Joe Thornton was the second star with 2 goals. And Andrew Murray was the third star with a goal and an assist. And it was in overtime, not in the shootout. So Boston scored first in the first period, took a 1-0 lead. There was a fight between Nate Thompson and Drew Doughty. Oh. Then Boston took a 3-0 lead in the second period, so it was 3-0 Boston after 2. Then in the third period, Joe Thornton scored from Drew Doughty, then Thornton again from Chris Kelly, and finally Chris Kelly tied the game up with a power play goal from Eric Carlson. It was tied at 3. That went in overtime, but in overtime, Dougie Hamilton played the hero with a goal in overtime, and we lost this game 4-3. Not a good start. We lost the first game. That's because I didn't say go Sens go at the start of the game. First game of the month, I always say that. See what happens. Hockey players are superstitious. See, that's exactly what happened. Eugene Melnick is very happy with my work as a general manager. We went 10-2-1, including yesterday's overtime loss. Right, so at least the owner is so happy. Gopfert is available on waivers. Right, so the next game is going to be at home. We're going to play against Montreal for the first time this season. Great night for Radim Verbata, playing for Colorado. He had 4 assists against Phoenix. Alright, and the Habs are going to be in town. Oh, lots of players on waivers. Karel Pilash is on waivers. Wow, he has paid a lot of money for an Alpha Star player. Matt Lassoff is also on waivers, and so is Zach Fitzgerald. Patrick Kane extends his assist streak to 8 games with an assist against Florida. Nice little streak. Dustin Byfuglien extends his assist streak to 8 games as well, with 2 assists against Vancouver. Byfuglien plays for Minnesota in my universe. There was no stopping Alexei Sharapanov, who had a hat-trick against the Ducks. And we just played against Peter Regan, and now he is hurt. Got hurt helping a friend move, so up for 2 weeks on the injured list. Or at least injured. I don't know if they're going to put him on the injured list. Sometimes the computer doesn't, which I'm not sure why, but... Alright, so Montreal is in town. Now, Montreal is struggling a little bit now. They still have a pretty good team on paper, but it hasn't translated on the ice yet. They are 5-5-1. That's good for 8 in the East. We have not played them this season. Let's take a look at that pretty good team of theirs. No injuries, but they do have David Perron suspended for 3 more games, so he's not going to be playing that game. Halleck and Price in net, so that's pretty solid right there. François Beauchemin, Andrei Markov, McDonough, Jordan, Jack Johnson, PK Subban, Sheldon Surrey, and Tim Gleason on D. So they have 2 former Sens on their D there. Sean Bergenheim, Max Pacioretty, David Perron, Justin Williams, JT Wyman, Derek McKenzie, Thomas Plekanec, Stephen Weiss, Joey Crabb, Gilbert Brûlé, Louis Eriksson, Chris Higgins, and Mike Ribeiro. So that's a pretty good team, pretty well-rounded team. They, as we know, they have eliminated us last season from the playoffs, and they have to be taken seriously. They are a lot better than they were in real life, at least on paper there. Oh, they're sending Halak. Looks like Halak might be the starter. Oh my god, controversy. You have no idea how much there is still controversy 10 years later in the different French-Canadian platforms for sports. Halak versus Price. A lot of people don't like Price. A lot of people overprotect Price. Oh my god. If a Habs fan gets to watch this, they might lose their marbles. Alright, so we are going to be sending out Siniemi. And we lost 5-3, so we lost our first 2 games of the month. Not good. We did outshoot Montreal 32-29. Derek McKenzie was the first star. He had a goal and an assist. Joe Thornton was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Jack Johnson was the third star with a goal. 19,700 people in attendance for this game. Montreal took a 2-0 lead into the first period, and it was 2-0 Montreal after one. And then we tied the game in the second period, so Patrice Bergeron scored from Jason Spezza, then Eric Condra from Joe Thornton and Eric Carlson. It was tied at 2 after 2. And then we even took the lead at the start of the third period. Joe Thornton scored his 5th from Brooks Lake, but then it was all Montreal. They scored 3 unanswered and ran away with the win. Oh, David Legwan just played in his 1000th game. Of course, only a few with us, but 1000 games in his career. Didn't get a point. And David Legwan is now 31 years old and a 2-star player. And Jason Spezza has earned 500 assists in his career with his assist in that game. 28 years old, 5-star player Jason Spezza, so still a very, very, very good player and should be for a few more years. Patrick Kane extends his assist streak to 9 games with an assist against Tampa Bay. And now Buffalo is in town. Now Buffalo is 4-7-1, so not a great start to the season. They are 10th in the East. We have not played Buffalo either, so it looks like we haven't played against our division much in October. So now let's take a look here at their lineup. No injuries in Buffalo. Alright, so Ben Scrivens and Tim Thomas in net. Alright. It's average. Tim Thomas is getting old, so he's declining in ability. Ben Scrivens is a 2-star goaltender right now. On D, it's Michael Russell, Johnny Oduya, Andre Sekera, Brian Campbell, Tyler Myers, and Mike Weber. That's not too bad. Definitely could be worse. Clark MacArthur, Daniel Paye, Jared Smithson, Mike Knuble, Ethan Morrow, Drew Stafford, Patrick Marleau, Marcus Foligno, Torrey Mitchell, Scotty Upshaw, Derek Roy, Travis Moen, Jason Pominville, Thomas Vanek, and Tommy Santella up front. That's a decent core of forwards as well. So all in all, Buffalo is not that terrible. They should be maybe doing a little bit better. They've had a few pretty bad years, so maybe back in the playoff picture for Buffalo. So Tim Thomas is going to be in net for Buffalo. We are going to Brian Elliott. And we won 3-2, finally a win. Alright, so we outshot Buffalo 50-26. David Legwan was the first star. He had 2 goals. Brian Campbell was the second star with an assist. And Eric Carlson was the third star with 2 assists. 17,777 people in attendance for that game. So Drew Doughty scored first in the first period from Zach Smith and Braden Shen. And then David Legwan from Eric Carlson and Alex Pietrangelo. It was 2-0 Sens after 1. Then Buffalo actually tied the game in the second period with 2 goals. It was tied at 2 after 2. But in the third period, almost at the midway mark, David Legwan scored the game winner from Brooks Lake and Eric Carlson. It was 3-2 Sens at that point, and that's how that game ended. Finally, first win of November. Dustin Bufflin's assist streak ended at 8 games. No point for him against St. Louis. Alex Ovechkin has achieved 600 points in his career. He got a goal against the Islanders. So Ovechkin, 26 years old, 3.5-star player, so it looks like he hasn't finished developing yet, even though he's 26. I mean, he's pretty good. He had 94 points last season, so that's not the issue there. I'm not sure what's going on with him. Alright, so we have a couple days off before we play the Rangers at home, and then we're going to head out for a very long road trip. Patrick Kane's assist streak ended at 9 games. No points for him against Vancouver. Alright, and David Perron is back from suspension with Montreal, back in the lineup over there. Alright, and now the Rangers are in town. We did beat the Rangers in New York 2-1 in October, so we are 1-0 against them. Overall, the Rangers are 6-1. That's good for 8 in the East. Let's see if we can beat them again. And we did. We won 4-2. Oh, we peppered Henrik Lundqvist with 64 shots, and the Rangers got 15 on our net. Patrick Eves was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals. Carl Hagelin was the second star with a goal, and Zdeno Chara was the third star with 2 assists. 17,343 people in attendance for that game. Eric Condra opened up the scoring in the first period. That was his 5th of the season from Joe Thornton and Brooks Lake. And then Patrick Eves from Zdeno Chara and David Legwan. And it was 2-0 Sens after 1. Then in the second period, the Rangers tied the game, but before the end of the period, Jason Spezza scored his 7th on the power play from Alexander Radulov and Joe Thornton, and it was 3-2 Sens after 2. And almost at the midway mark of the third period, Patrick Eves scored the entrance marker from Zdeno Chara and Chris Kelly. It was 4-2 at that point, and that score would hold. Oh, Drew Doughty is hurt. He's only day-to-day, though. Sore hamstring. Sorry. Braden Shen improves that right wing. So he looks like he's still seeing more action on the right side again. Oh, he also got hurt. Okay, alright, so Drew Doughty, I don't need to put on the injured reserve. It's only day-to-day, but Braden Shen is 1 to 2 weeks with a elbow contusion, so we're going to go ahead and put him on the injured reserve. That sucks, but it happens. Now we have to look at who's available in Binghamton. Alright, so Doug Evans. Yeah, I think it's going to be Colin Greening. Alright, come play some games in the NHL, or maybe not, maybe you'll just be benched, but anyway. You're going to be making NHL salary for a couple weeks. Alright, and we are going to be starting that super long road trip in a couple days, and it's going to start in Buffalo against the Sabres. Matt Moulson extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal and an assist against the Jets. Alright. So Panthers are doing better now. They were really, really bad for many, many years in my sim, but they are definitely doing better now. Alright, so we are heading in Buffalo. Sabres are now 5-8-1, still 9th in the East. We are 1-0 against them, of course. We just beat them 3-2. Let's see if we can beat them again. Antiniemi in net for us. Ben Scrivens in net for Buffalo. And we won 6-1. Alright, so we outshot Buffalo 52-16. Joe Thornton was the first of the game. He had a few assists, 5 of them. That's a pretty good game. Eric Condra was the second star with a goal and an assist, and Andre Mazzaros was the third star with a goal. So Eric Condra opened up the scoring in the first from Roman Josi and Joe Thornton, then Andre Mazzaros from Joe Thornton. It was 2-0 Sens after 1. In the second period, Alexander Radulov scored on the power play from Joe Thornton and Jason Spezza, made it 3-0 Sens. Then in the third period, Buffalo scored, made it 3-1 for us, and then Chris Kelly scored from Joe Thornton and Eric Condra, Jason Spezza on the power play from Joe Thornton and Eric Carlson, and finally Jason Spezza from Petrus Bergeron and Chris Kelly. 6-1. Final score, pretty one-sided game. Alright, so Alex Pietrangelo is hurt, and he's hurt for 7 weeks with torn quad. So obviously I'm going to need to address that. And then Joe Thornton had a great game, 5 assists. Obviously we just saw that. Alright, so Pietrangelo, 7 weeks. Yikes. Alright, you go to the injured reserved. Now we have to recall a defenseman. I can guarantee you we don't have Alex Pietrangelo back down, but we do have Ryan Whitney and Anton Volchenkov, so hopefully one of them is playing pretty good and deserves to be called up. Alright, so let's see. Lucas Bisa. Yeah, I think I'm going to recall Ryan Whitney. Come make an NHL salary, buddy. Alright, so at least I have a couple decent options down there. It's not all half star players. Of course, it's not going to be as strong as what I have on my starting lineup, but it is what it is. Alright, and we play the very next night in Toronto against the Leafs. Open ice leads to a productive night for Patrick Kane. He had also a 5-assist night against Calgary. Jonathan Toews has a great game. He had 3 goals and an assist in that same game. And there was no stopping Eric Stahl, who had a hat-trick against the Rangers. Alright, so we are playing in Toronto. Toronto's doing pretty good. They are 12-4. That's good for 4th in the East, and we are 1-1 against Toronto. Did lose 2-1 against them. Alright, so Brian Elliott is going to be in net for that one, and we are going to face James Reimer. And we won 4-1. Alright, so let's see here. Toronto was outshot 44-24 against us. Pavel Datsyuk was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Jason Spezza was the second star with 2 goals, and Chris Kelly was the third star with a goal and an assist. Jason Spezza scored first. It was his 10th of the season from Pavel Datsyuk. Then Jason Spezza scored again on the power play from Yoni Pitkanen and Chris Kelly, and just like that, it was 2-0 Sens after 1. Alright, then in the second period, former Ottawa Senator Matt Onwick scored, made it 2-1 Ottawa. And then in the third period, Chris Kelly scored from David Legwand and Eric Condra. And then Pavel Datsyuk scored in an empty net from Joe Thornton and Patrick Eves. 4-1, the final score today. Alright, so Patrick Bordelot is available, but I'm not going to pick him up. Oleg Teredovsky has competed in 1,000 games in his career. That happened against the the Winnipeg Jets. Teredovsky does play for Columbus. No point for him. And at 35 years old, 2-star player still. Picarini is hurt for 3 weeks. That's going to hurt Nashville a little. Alright, and Drew Doughty is starting to feel better. Alright, and it is now time to hit the road in Western Canada. So the first stop is going to be in Calgary. So that's going to happen in a couple days, sorry. Alright, so Drew Doughty getting better and better. Hopefully he gets... he can play now, so that's pretty good. Alright, and then Drew Doughty says game on. He is ready. Alright, Braden Shen shouldn't take too much longer himself. Alright, so we are now in Calgary. The Flames are 7-8-1 this season, so not too great there. And I think they don't have a super good team, if I remember correctly. Well, they do have a couple interesting players. So Craig Anderson is there. Thank you, Andy. I know you're never going to listen to that, but thank you for all of your services in Ottawa. Ottawa in real life decided to move away from Anderson. He's 39 by now, so getting a little old to be part of a rebuild and everything, but he gave us 10 pretty good years, so thank you for that, Andy. And then Leland Irving is the other goaltender there in Calgary. Hal Gill, Giordano, Brody, Ludman, Cronwall, Phaneuf, Wilson, Norro on D. Decent D, for sure. Dawson Boyd, Vili Leno, Eric Nystrom, is it Brandon or Brett Sutter, Lance Bouma, Cracknell, Novotny, Betts, Kabasu, Thornton, LaRose, Wellman, and Vazicek. So the forwards are really not that great, but the goaltending and the D's alright. So if they can limit shots and everything, which probably won't happen against us, but if they can limit shots and everything, they have a shot probably to win games. Alright, so Antiniemi in net for us, Craig Anderson in net for the Flames. And we lost 3-1, look at that. Alright, so we outshot Calgary 39-23. Yuri Novotny was the first star of the game with a goal. Andre Mezaros was the second star with no points. And Craig Anderson was the third star with 38 saves in the W. So Lance Bouma scored in the first period, made it 1-0 Calgary after 1. There was a fight between Dion Phaneuf and Chris Kelly. Right, then in the second period, Calgary scored again, made it 2-0, doubled their lead. They took a 3-0 lead in the third period, and then with 51 seconds left in the game, Pavel Datsyuk made sure Andy didn't get a shutout with assists from Jason Spezza and Petrus Bergeron. It was too little too late, though, and the Sens dropped another game in November. I'm gonna make a panic trade at this rate. We have lost 4 games so far in... No, 3 games so far in November. No, 3 games. Yeah, 3 games we've lost. I can't do math. I can, sometimes. Oh, Rafi Torres is available on waivers. I can't pick anybody up, but he's there for the taking. Actually, somebody might pick him up. He's a 1.5-star player. Alright, so now we are stopping in Edmonton to play against the Oilers. They are 6-9-2. Let's take a look. They should slowly be getting all of those first-round draft picks on their roster. Alright, so Devon Dominic in net, Wade DeBulwicks as a backup, Theo Peckham, James Wisniewski, Sean O'Donnell, Daniel Markov, Denis Grebeshkov, Matt Green, and Jeff Petrie on the Zach Boychuk, Taylor Hall, Brandon Prost, Ryan Smith, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Kyle Brodziak, Jarrett Stahl, Rob Schremp, Andrew Cogliano, Sean Orkoff, Brandon Budchenski, Jason Shimura, Jordan Eberle, and Miroslav Shatan. All in all, it's not a bad team. I think they can play a little bit better than what their record is showing. Of course, some of those guys are still young and need to develop too, so they're not all fully developed. So we're going to go with Brian Elliott for that one. Devon Dubnyk is going to be in net for Edmonton. Oh, we won that one 7-2. We outshot Edmonton 37-24. Erik Karlsson was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and 2 assists. Pavel Datsyuk was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Jason Spezza was the third star with 2 goals. So Edmonton scored first, but Patrick Eves tied the game. It was his 5th of the season from Chris Kelly and Erik Karlsson, and it was tied at 1 after 1. Then we got a lot of goals in the second period. Pavel Datsyuk scored from Sam Gagner, then Erik Karlsson scored on the power play from Sam Gagner, and then Erik Karlsson scored again from Andre Meszaros and Brooks Laich. Chris Kelly scored his 5th from Pavel Datsyuk, and finally Jason Spezza scored on the power play from Erik Karlsson and Joe Thornton. After 2, it was 6-1 Sens. And in the third period, Edmonton scored, but then Jason Spezza scored again from Patrice Bergeron, and 7-2 was the final score. Pretty good game. We needed one of those. We've been playing kind of so far this month. Yeah, that's what I thought. Raffy got claimed. So Sidney Crosby produced 300 goals in his career. He had a goal and an assist against Tampa Bay. 24-year-old Sidney Crosby. He's a 2-star player. No, just joking. 5-star, of course. Raffy is claimed from waivers by... Wait. So Washington claimed him from Chicago. That's what happened. And we are going to play in Vancouver for 2 days. Not for 2 days, that would be a very long game. Although some playoff games sometimes feel like they could get there. Alright, Matt Lassoff has been put on waivers, and Alexander Radulov is hurt. But he's day-to-day dehydrated. He will be able to play if we need him. Good game for Phil Kessel. He had 3 goals and 2 assists against the Islanders. Yeah, that's a pretty good game. Strong game for Jeff Carter in Philly. He had a hat-trick against the Jets. Again, the Jets in the Eastern Conference for this season, right after their relocation. Alright, and we are now going to be playing in Vancouver against the Canucks. So a losing record for Vancouver as well. They are 7-12 this season. We have not played them. Let's take a look here at that lineup. Try to figure it out. Alright, so in net it should be fine. Corey Schneider and Eddie Lack is a 2.5-star goaltender apparently, and a 4-star potential. Well, my scouting of him is E, so that could be why he's showing so great. Because that sounds like a little bit of a overreach of potential. And Alex Edler, Brent Sopel, Anders Eriksson, Joe Corvo, Kevin Connaughton, and Yaroslav Spacek on D. That's not that great. Mikael Gravner, Daniel Sedin, Thomas Holmstrom, RJ Umberger, Eric Christensen, Josh Holden, Justin Jeffrey, Matt Stajan. Oh, Matt Stajan is in Vancouver now. That's Peter White, I think. Patrick White. Adam Burish, Cody Hodgson, Yannick Hansen, Henrik Sedin, and Shirokov. Goaltending is good, D is not very good, and there's definitely some good players up front. At least a few of them. Yeah, their team is not that great. And Eddie Lack is going to be in net for Vancouver. We are going back to Antiniemi. And we won 5-2. We have outshot Vancouver 66-20. Nikita Filatov was the first star of the game with 2 assists. Sam Gagner was the second star with a goal and an assist, and Drew Doughty was the third star with a goal and an assist. So Drew Doughty scored first in the first period from Chris Kelly and Patrick Eves, and then Brooks Laich from Zdeno Chara and Joe Thornton. 2-0 Sens after 1. Then in the second period, Zach Smith scored from Sam Gagner and Nikita Filatov. Then Sam Gagner from Drew Doughty and Nikita Filatov. And Brooks-like from Eric Condra and Joe Thornton. It was 5-0 Sens at that point. Vancouver scored twice before the end of the period, made it 5-2. And that was the final score. Nobody scored in the third period. We took some penalties, but that was it. Craig Adams has played in 1,000 games in his career. Didn't get a point, and that happened against Toronto. 34 years old. 34 years old Craig Adams. 1.5 star player. And Radulov might have enough fluids in him now. Might be able to play. Right, and that really long road trip here is going to end in Pittsburgh in 4 days. League says no suspension for Jagr. Oh, even in the game, it's showing some preference over star players. So Jagr not suspended in Pittsburgh. And Radulov is feeling okay now. Corey Stillman has played in 1,250 games in his career, no points. That happened against Calgary. Now Corey Stillman plays in Detroit in my universe. 37 years old Corey Stillman, still a 2.5 star player, so should still be able to play. What are his stats? 10 points in 20 games at 37, yeah, not too bad. A great night for Matt Molson. He had 4 goals and an assist against the Rangers. Yeah, pretty good game. Strong game for Cam Atkinson in Columbus. He had a hat-trick against the Devils. And memorable night for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He had a hat-trick as well against the Ducks. And Braden Shen might be coming back soon. And I just said that Braden Shen might be back soon. Stay tuned. Alright, we are now in Pittsburgh to face off against the Penguins. Pittsburgh is really good. They are 16-6. That's good for 4th in the East. We have not played the Penguins this season. Alright, so Bo Bennett, as we saw, is hurt. Patrick Sharp is also hurt, so that's 2 wingers that are hurt. And also hurt is Christian Eroff, and he's not going to play. In net, they have Marc-Andre Fleury and Josh Harding, so with Flower in net, they are pretty good there. Christian Eroff, Goligoski, Scott Harrington, Brent Skinner, Brooks Orpik, Peter Nummelin, Jeff Finger on D. Not the best D. Couple decent players, I suppose. Then up front, of course, is where they shine. Jagr, Jeffrey, Selick, Piorala, Carcillo, Crosby, Malkin, Morin, Stahl, Esht, Desharnais, Kennedy, Blake, and Malone. So whenever you face Pittsburgh in my universe, prepare to see a lot of offense. And we're going to send Brian Elliott in net for that game. They are sending Marc-Andre Fleury, and we did play them in preseason and beat them 3-1. Now that it matters, are we going to win? We did, 2-1. Alright, we'll take it for sure. We outshot Pittsburgh 40-27. Jason Spezza was the first star of the game. He had a goal. Marc-Andre Fleury was the second star with 38 saves, and Dustin Jeffrey was the third star, with an assist. Right, so Pittsburgh scored first in the second period, and then Jason Spezza tied the game from Pavel Datsyuk, and then Nikita Filatov scored from Alexander Radulov and Sam Gagner. It was 2-1 Sens at that point, and that score held all the way till the end of the game. Not a lot of penalties also in the game. There's some penalties in the third period, that's it. Oh, bad news for Senators. David Legwand is hurt. He's going to miss 3 weeks. After suffering a tailbone dislocation. Oh, that must hurt. I banged my tailbone when I was in high school playing soccer, and I couldn't sit right for like 3 weeks. Alright, so you go to the injured reserve. I'm just gonna recall Braden Shen. He's almost ready anyway. Yeah, he can play if we need him, and you know, I still have other, so that's fine. Colin Greening stays up. He did play 2 games and did absolutely nothing. Alright, and we are going to finally go home to play 1 game. Oh, Marianosa, the player I said I was going to keep forever and that I changed my mind. He has reached 300 goals with the Blackhawks. Makes sense, right? So that happened against Anaheim. He had that 1 goal, and he's 32. He's still a 3-star player. He's still good, but needed to do stuff. And he has 18 points in 23 games, so he's not doing too bad. Nick Russ in Phoenix is not suspended. Louis Eriksson has a memorable game. He had 5 assists against Pittsburgh. Montreal trounced Pittsburgh 8-0. That's crazy. Alright, and now the Carolina Hurricanes are in town. They are 5-18-1. They are by far the worst team in the East. We are 1-0 against the Hurricanes this season. Cam Ward is going to be in net for Carolina. We are going to Brian Elliott. And we won 1-0, so we did win both games against the Hurricanes, but both games were 1-0, so we have problems against the worst team in the East. We outshot them 61-12. Cam Ward, first star, 60 saves despite the loss. Derek Meach was the second star without any points, and Petrus Bergeron was the third star with an assist. 16,607 people in attendance for that particular game. Finally back home. There was a fight in the first period between Zdeno Chara and Andrew Ladd. And then all the way in the third period, with 38 seconds left to go in the third period, the fans finally got a goal, and it was Roman Josi scoring his first as a Senator, assisted by Petrus Bergeron. 1-0 is the final score. Casey Wellman has a good game for Calgary. He had a hat-trick against the Wild. Right, and there's 1 game left here in November. It's going to be in Winnipeg. Against the Jets. Now the Jets are not doing all that great. They are 7-13-3. That's good for 12th in the East. We are 1-0 against the Jets this season. Brian Elliott looks like he's getting his starter job back or something. And then Kari Lehtonen in net for the Jets. And we lost 2-0. So we finished the month with another loss. We outshot the Jets 38-22. Kari Lehtonen was the first of the game, 38 saves, the W and the shutout. Jason Spezza was the second star without any points, and Jeremy Marne was the third star with a goal and an assist. So Winnipeg scored first in the first period, and that went all the way into the third. And they scored again, and we never scored. We didn't fight. We just, I don't know. They did take a bunch of penalties. We had quite a few power plays, but we couldn't do anything. one of those mysteries, I suppose. Passes on point for Ryan Kessler. He had 4 assists against Carolina. Daniel Winnick is suspended in Phoenix. He's going to miss 2 games. Don Sweeney is trying to keep his coaching job with the Rangers. Rangers not doing good. They are 6-13-2. So Don Sweeney in trouble there. Memorable night for Sergei Mozyakin, who had 3 goals and an assist against the Canucks. Pretty good. And Braden Shen is ready to be there again and play. Alright, so one more click to make it December 1st. Alright. And Matt Molson and Jacob Markstrom, both from Florida, got the honors in the month of November. So Florida had a pretty good run in November, huh? Alright, so we are going to look at our standings here. Despite not having the best month, we did maintain our standing there, so we are atop of the Eastern Conference, only 2 points before in front of the Flyers. So Flyers have leapfrogged the Penguins. They have 1 more point in 2 less games played. Now in the West, we have Chicago first. Yeah, they're pretty good. Actually, they're the best team in the league. So Chicago, Minnesota, LA, Columbus, Nashville, Phoenix, Colorado, and St. Louis. So no Western Canadian teams in a playoff spot. And the worst team in the league is the Carolina Hurricanes. They are just terrible. They have lost 9 straight games. That's terrible. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take a quick look at our stats. Alright, so as we can see, Spezza has slowed down a little bit. He has 28 points in 24 games. Still over a point per game, but not as big a gap. Thornton is 24 and 24, Carlson 19 and 24, Datsuk 14, Chris Kelly 14, and then it just goes down from there. So yeah, we struggle, except for that one game in Edmonton. I think we've kind of struggled to score some goals. Oh, we had another 6-goal game at one point. But yeah. Now let's take a look in the league, see if Crosby is still the best at everything. No, Matt Molson and Sergei Mozyakin are now the best goal scorers. They have 18 goals each. Patrick Kane is now the best passer. He has 27 assists, but Crosby overall is the best scorer with 41 points. David Krejci is second with 39. Our best is Spezza at 28. He is 8th in the East. And that pretty much concludes it for today. Next time, of course, we are going to go ahead and play in the month of December 2011, and then it's going to move on to the 2012 calendar year. So slowly but surely, we're trudging through the years. But anyway, so I do want to thank you for tuning in as usual, and if you've liked the video, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And until I roll this game again, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.